And so this evening, we are going to talk about the third phase. So now we have the mindset. Now we've created the income. We need to know what to put the money towards. So today we are discussing 5 areas that you need to be investing towards. And so the first of the 5, the first area that you need to be investing towards, the very first important area that you need to focus a lot of attention is in respect of your retirement. Now, I'm sure you are wondering, why would I be talking about retirement? I mean, why would I be thinking about retirement? I'm only 25, I'm only 30 years. Retirement is so far away. Why should I worry about it? Well, this is one of the most important reasons why you need to consider, you need to think about your retirement. And see, there are a few milestones in our lives. We are born, we go to school, we find a job, and then we get promoted, and we get to retire. So retirement is one of those things that is indeed on the calendar for every individual, except if you actually own the organization and you decide that you are not going to retire, you're going to go until you die. But if you don't own, even when you own the organization, retirement is a very important thing for everybody, because it is expected that you have to retire so that others can take over the mantle whilst you are still alive. So you can actually mentor them, you can actually coach them, help them to take your dream and make it even bigger. And a lot of us in Africa especially, there's a lot of if you take a lot of family businesses, they hardly survive beyond the vision bearer, beyond the one who actually started it. This is because we do not analyze beyond ourselves, beyond our own lives. So retirement gives you a chance to hand over the reins to somebody else, that you can then monitor and help that person and guide that person towards a worthy outcome, a worthy future. See, and so even if you own the organization, retirement should still matter to you, should still be important to you. See, and it's important that because retirement is a key milestone in all of our lives, you need to plan for it. You need to have a plan for it. And that plan must be in consonance with whatever it is that you have for yourself. I mean, when you close your eyes and you picture yourself at 60 years, which is the retirement age in Ghana, elsewhere is 65, elsewhere there's really no age. You decide when you want to retire. And so whatever it is that you have for yourself, when you close your eyes at that point, at that age that you want to retire, where do you see yourself? How much do you want to earn at the end of the month, at the end of every month? How much do you want to be paid at the end of every month? Because technically, when you are in retirement, you are no longer earning, in quotes, and emphasis on the quotation, because we know people who are supposed to be retired who are earning far more than many of us are earning put together. The fact that you are not supposed to be earning during retirement does not mean you cannot earn. But for the purpose of this discussion, whilst you are on retirement, you are not supposed to be earning money, but you're supposed to be getting paid based on the work you've done already. How much you're going to get paid depends on what you put aside. If you have not put enough aside, obviously you're not going to get paid enough. Now, here's where it gets tricky. As we are here, we are in an active phase, we are actively working. Many of us, in fact, if you are on this call with me right now and you are a worker, I know there are students as well. If you're a student, please type student. If you're a worker, please type worker. Let's see where the majority are. Now, many of us are actively working. Now, how many of us who are actively working can say that we are excited about how much we are taking, or rather that how much we are taking is actually enough to keep us, to sustain us? Not many people can actually make that statement that how much we are making is sustaining us. And so if what you are making now, when you are actively working and making money, is not sustaining you, then imagine when you are reached retirement age, when you are not earning anymore. If what you are earning right now when you're active is not enough, then obviously when that earning power is taken from you, whatever is left is not going to be enough. And that is the concept of social security. Social security, this is how it works. So this is a very, very highly simplified system, highly simplified explanation I'm going to give you. So basically, whilst you are working, they take a portion of your salary, right? In Ghana, the total is about 18.5%. So you take 18.5% of your salary, and then you put it in an investment, which is SNIT to work with it. Your salary is 100%. You're taking 18% out of that money and giving it to SNIT to keep for you, so that on your retirement, they will give you back some of that money on a monthly basis. Now, 18% of the money you've given them, how much can you hope to get out of that can keep you going? And so the point I'm trying to make is that if 100% was not enough to sustain you right now, 18% would definitely not be enough to sustain you. If you do not have a plan for your retirement and you are only dependent on SNIT, you are in trouble, my brother, my sister. You are in big trouble, because if 100% was not enough, 18% will most certainly not be enough. In fact, data from SNIT is suggesting that at retirement, if you took 100 Ghanaians at retirement, only 2 of them will retire comfortably. Only two Ghanaians retire comfortably in Ghana today. And that's very, very sad. Very, very sad indeed. 2 people out of 100 retire comfortably. And this is because many of us leave our retirement to chance. You should not leave your retirement to chance. It is the last thing you should do, ever, ever, ever do, because it is a recipe for disaster. Somebody repeat after me: a recipe for disaster. So you must decide today what kind of retirement you want to have. You want to have a retirement where you are feeding off people around you. You are going around borrowing or walking on the street begging, or you want to be jumping from relative to relative, so that when they write your hypertension medicine, you have to give it to your son or your daughter to buy it for you because you don't have money. Is that the kind of retirement you want? That you become a burden onto your children because you think you've invested into your children, so they should not take care of you? That's not true. The Bible, yes, the Bible does say that we should honor our parents, but that does not mean that we should become a burden on our children. It's because your job as a parent does not end until your child dies or you yourself dies. And so at no point is it okay for your son or your daughter to take care of you. It's not okay. You need to be in a position to take care of your children. The very people that you brought into this world, they didn't decide to come. You brought them into this world, so they are a responsibility until one of you dies. So it's not okay for you to be dependent on your child. It's not okay. You must plan the kind of life you want to have. Once you have that plan in your mind that I want to be paid $1,000 US every single month when I retire, because I think $1,000 will sustain me at that point, then you must then put in measures now to guarantee that you're going to earn that $1,000 every month at your retirement. And there are ways and means that this can be calculated. And like I said, I can help you do all these things on the side. The aim of this point, this program, this training session, is to let you know that there are options available for you. But when you begin to plan it right now, the likelihood of succeeding is very, very high, because remember that it is the mindset that drives the habit, and the habit drives the results. And the results will then come back and reinforce the mindset. You understand? So it's a cycle. If the mindset is wrong, you're going to drive the wrong habit. When you drive the wrong habits, you're going to get the wrong results. And those wrong results are going to reinforce the mindset that you had from the beginning. So if you want a certain outcome, want a certain result, you must put in the right mindset. You must change the mindset. You must renew the mind daily so that it can drive the right habits. And planning for retirement is a habit, because it takes a lot of grit. It's painful. It's hard. Put money aside for 30 years. Imagine you're not going to touch this money for 30 years. It's hard, because every day there are bills to pay. But you look at yourself and say, no, I'm going to put aside 100 Ghana cedis every single month for 30 years. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to make it happen. And it will not happen if your mindset is not right. If you have not yet thought about where you want to be, if you have actually not lived with somebody who is on retirement and is struggling to make ends, what I'm telling you does not make sense to you right now. But just look around you. There are people who work tirelessly. Every day we see stories in the newspaper about somebody who worked 25, 30 years, and when he went to retirement, they gave him 10,000 as the lump sum. And people are upset at SNIT. Why are you upset at SNIT? If you had understood what was going on and you knew that 18% would not be enough for you, you have made alternative plans, but you didn't. And now you sit there and you saw SNIT. It is not rocket science. You must plan your retirement. Retirement is not one of those things that you leave to chance. If you leave it to chance, my brother, my sister, your diabetes will definitely take your leg away. So, so don't leave your retirement to chance. Very, very important. Now, there are 2 friends that you have when it comes to retirement planning. 2 very, very important friends. The first friend, which is actually your best friend, is time. Time is the most important asset when you are talking about retirement planning. The earlier you start planning your retirement, the more likely you are to have significant success. 100 Ghana cedis a month can actually build you a significant war chest of retirement if you started when you were 25 years old. 100 Ghana cedis a month started at 30 years old can actually get you a significant war chest at retirement. But if you wait until you are 45 or 50 to start, then you are in big trouble, because it means you are going to have to put down a lot more money. And so do not think that this point is not relevant to you. However old you are, even as a student, you can start putting money aside. It doesn't matter how small the money is. Remember, time is your best friend. So if you're able to put aside 20 cedis a month or 100 cedis a month, 500 Ghana cedis a month, you should do it. And I'm not going to go into specific because from the second edition, we already figured out how we can create 30%. We can carve out 30% of our income and still live a decent life. And so after that 30%, then you can channel some of that money to your retirement fund. But you must have a retirement fund because it is important. You will retire at a point. You will retire at a point. So be planning for it right now. Okay, so I mean, as you learn, make sure that you don't lose the information that you have just learned because it's important. Very, very important. So I mentioned that your best friend is time. Your next friend is actually capital. So the more you are able to invest, the better your outcome. So time is the most important. Second thing is capital. But the thing is, the capital can be increased as your earnings also go up. In other words, you can start with 100 cedis today and grow that 100 cedis to 150 cedis in the next 2 years to 200 cedis, 300. Capital can appreciate as your earnings increase. So don't focus so much on the capital available right now. It's not as important as time. The most important thing you can do is to get started. Once you get started, the rest will take care of itself. As you develop the habit, the rest will take care of itself. But the habit is what will drive the results. Always keep that in mind. The mindset drives the habit drives the results comes back to reinforce the mindset. So that's the cycle I want you to at the back of your mind. All right. Now the second important area that you need to invest towards, second area that you want to put something aside towards is housing. Yes, you heard me right. Housing. I mean, housing is equally, or if not even more important at retirement, because housing is needed right now. Right now, you need a place to stay. If you don't have a place to stay right now, you probably die before your retirement. So housing might even be more important right now than retirement. So housing is very, very important. Somebody has suggested that in Africa or in Ghana, we stay with our parents too long. Because elsewhere in the West, in America, people are moving out of their parents' house by 18, by 19, latest by 25, they are in their own houses. But in Ghana, people stay with their parents up to their 30s. Some people even get married and move their wives and husbands to their parents' house. I really don't see that as a bad thing per se. It depends on a lot of factors. The reason why I might say that it's a bad thing is that many of us, whilst we are staying in our parents' areas, in our parents' houses, fail to plan towards acquiring our own places or towards moving to our own place. And so, even though housing is one of the three basic needs of human beings, I mean, Maslow's theory of need will tell you that food, shelter, clothing are the three most important needs of a human being. Shelter being housing. Yet it always catches us by surprise when we have to pay rent or when we have to move out of a particular place to another place. It's always a surprise to a lot of people. For me, it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I don't get why it should come as a surprise that you have to pay rent. Because you knew you were going to pay rent. Even if you had a 2-year rent advance, you knew that in 2 years' time you have to pay rent. So how come it has come to you as a surprise? Yes, we know the salary is not enough. Yes, that one we know. There's hardly anybody in Ghana whose salary is enough. We've established that already. Don't tell me your salary is not enough. I was also a civil servant, so I know what you are going through. But in spite of the fact that the salary is not enough, once you know that there's something that is going to happen regardless of how much you are paid, and towards it. The difference between the successful person and the unsuccessful person is the planning. Many of us fail to plan, and so we are always caught unawares. And once you are caught unawares, it forces you to do things that you never intended to. So you begin to cut corners, you begin to look for accommodation any and everywhere, where it eventually becomes a burden onto yourself. I mean, for the life of me, I mean, and this, let me apologize if this offends anybody already. I can't understand how somebody can live in Kaswa and be working in Central Accra. That is a very, very, very difficult situation to find yourself in. And if you are in such a situation, I mean, my wish for you is that you change it. Because research has shown that if you spend more than 3 hours, in traffic to and from work, there's not much you can achieve in your life. And this is true for a lot of people, a lot of situations. It's hard, but it's true. Because if you are spending more than 3 hours in traffic, the health implication is there, the financial implication is there. So you might actually have got some cheap accommodation in Kasua back there somewhere. But how much are you paying for transportation from that place to work? How much are you sacrificing? How much family time are you sacrificing? I mean, if you have to leave the house at 3 a.m., you have to leave your house at 3 a.m. just to get to work at 8 a.m. How? I mean, you don't even see your children. You post work at 5 and you get home at 9. You don't even get to see your children. So who is raising your children? Who is raising your children? How do you know when somebody is abusing your child? Because you are not even available. And it's not as if you are not available just because you are stuck in traffic. So the cost that you have, the amount of time you are spending transit, it defeats that the cheaper rent that you are paying. And so it's very, very, very important that something has to change. Either your work has to change to a closer place, or you have to move your family to a closer to your work, because emphasis on the time. If you are spending more than 3 hours in traffic, it is not worth it. Probably die from exhaustion, probably die from smoke inhalation or lack of sleep, because you can't do anything. Somebody, once you earn a salary, it means that somebody has bought your time. Your 8 to 5 is owned by somebody else, but your 5 to 10 is yours to do with as you please. Which means that if you have a side gig to do, that is the time to actually do it. Now, because you are spending all that much time in traffic, what happens is that the 8 to 5 that somebody has already bought and paid for, you are now dividing that same time between your work and your side gig. You are ineffective as an employee, ineffective as a business owner. And so both of them collapse eventually, and you don't achieve anything. And so you really need to find time. You need to move. Basically, you need to move and find a location that will serve you better. Very, very important. So once you plan your housing, it helps you to achieve your goals. I remember when I graduated from school at 27 years. Medical school, and I got my first job working with Kolebu. Thankfully, as a medic, there's already a demand for doctors. So I didn't have long to wait. When I finished my school, I got a job immediately. So I started working. But I was living I was living on campus, when I say campus, I had accommodation on Kolebu campus, you know. And one of the things that I learned early in my life was that I had to pay rent regardless of where I was living. And so from the first salary that I earned, I started paying rent, even though I was living in a free accommodation. And when I say I was paying rent, what I mean is I actually went around, and looked for the place that I would like to stay. So I actually went around the area. I actually got an agent who took me around, check out some properties and places I wanted to live, and I got an idea what the rent was for those places. And so I began paying rent to myself. So every month when my salary is paid, at the time it was 400 Ghana cedis. It was ambitious, because for a single person to pay rent of 400 Ghana cedis, it didn't make sense, but I didn't know any better. All I knew was that I wanted to live in 2-bedroom house with a gate and everything. Charlie, I was thinking big. So I was paying myself rent of 400 Ghana cedis. So I took 400 Ghana cedis out of my salary every month, and I put it in a separate account. And I did this for 2 years, so that when it came time to actually pay rent, it was not that difficult for me at all. I didn't struggle. So planning, use what you have to get what you want. Many of us are in a hurry to move out of our parents' house because we think that they are restricting us. Why don't you rather use that period, that to actually develop, to actually save towards your own rent, so that when it's time to move, you can move out without hassle. So housing is a very, very important aspect. And you have to plan your housing from now. Those in school, those who are working, you get your first job, pay yourself rent. And if you get into that habit, I can assure you that you'll be able to build your own house. You'll be able to build your house in 5 to 10 years of getting your first job. Now, I'm speaking from personal experience here. I graduated school in 2012, and by 2018, my wife and I had built our own building. We actually moved to our own building. 7 years of graduating from medical school. So yes, it is possible. I've done it. You can do it too. Let's move on. All I'm saying is that there's a habit that you can develop that can help you achieve certain things. And now there's even a scheme, a rent-to-own scheme that's available for those who are ready. And so when we see when the mindset is right, when you have made when the plans are there, then you can begin to find the resources you need to plan a reality. If you have never thought of owning your own house, this rent-to-own scheme would never occur to you. But if you have actually thought of owning your own house right now, you can then find out information about how this rent-to-own can help you own a house in the next 5 to 10 years. So I can begin so that maybe instead of paying rent advance, actually use it in this rent-to-own scheme and then own that building in the next 5 years. Very, very important. But remember, your first house does not have to be your dream house, so don't make that mistake. Your first house is just a place to put your head so that you can plan and prepare for your dream house. So when it comes to budgeting for housing, budget for your first house, clear that one in 5 years, and then now plan for your dream house. Going to achieve about 20 years. Better read it well. So your children's education is another area you want to invest towards. But one may ask, if I don't have children, why should I even invest towards my children's education? Well, again, the best time to have to start investing, the best time to start planning is before the child is even born. That's the best time. It is the best time because remember we mentioned that your most important friend, your best friend when it comes to investment is time. The longer time you have, the less risk you need to carry on yourself, and the less capital you need to invest. So if you have 20 years, you can put 100 cedis aside, but you have only 5 years, you have to put 1,000 Ghana cedis aside. And so the longer time you have, the better for you. So even before the children come, it will be ideal if you started a children's fund for them. But just keep in mind that with respect to children, there is the current need and there is the future need. When the child starts school today, you need to pay school fees today. You cannot say that I'm investing towards school fees tomorrow. No, you must pay school fees today. But whilst you are paying school fees today, you must also remember that there is a bigger school fee, which is the university fees that you must save towards. And so the children's fund is usually a double-barreled gun, where one side is taking care of current needs. You must buy clothes for the children now. You must buy food for the children now, and you must also plan to buy food for them tomorrow. And so it's very, very yes. You must pay the future fees today. And so when you are doing a children's fund, you must have all this in mind. One of the key places that you want to focus on will be the college education. What kind of college do you want your child to attend? It is usually not dependent on the grade of the child. It's not dependent on the grade of the child. It depends on the money. If you have money, your child can go to any school they want. Really, think about it. It's the money. The money makes all the difference. Your child can go to Harvard today. All that is required is to have money to pay. So if you have money to pay, they can go anywhere. Of course, they must be smart. But what I'm saying is that smartness alone is not enough, because you can still pass the exam, you can blow the SATs and still not get scholarship. And so because you didn't get scholarship, you are smart, but you can't make it. Just being smart is not enough. The money is the key. Yes, money makes all the difference. You must plan that I want my child to go to this particular university and begin to plan towards it. In Ghana, one of the best places, one of the best universities to use as a benchmark in Ghana is Ashesi University. Go to Ashesi, go and take their prospectus, go and find out their fee, and then use that fees as a guideline. Because if you can pay for Ashesi University, you'll most likely be able to pay for any university in Ghana. If you want your child to attend school outside Ghana, then again, you can then decide to go and check their prospectus, check their fee, and now begin to plan for that child to attend those schools. Oh wow, I have Prof. KOA endorsing what I'm saying. True. Even University of Ghana is all about money. Yes, it's all about money. The grade is important, but the grade is not as important as the money. So, by all means, the child should get the grade, but you as a parent, make sure that you have the money to back the grade. And by adventure, if your child actually has the grade and gets the scholarship, this is what's going to happen. Because you had money set aside for that child's education. Now that money can then be set aside to set your child up. So the child goes to school, comes out of school, has a business idea. I want to start this business. You are not going to watch your child go and struggle to look for funding. I have the money already. What do you want me to do for you? Just do for the person. I mean, ask yourself, if your mother or your father gave you $1 million Ghana cedis to start a business, wouldn't you be a wealthy man already? I mean, look at yourself. Look at how smart you are. You mean hustling to push your business. You're looking for funding. It's not working. If your parents gave you the capital you needed, wouldn't you be a millionaire already? I mean, I know some people will be saying that if you gave your child a million CBs, the child will waste it. First of all, it's not your money. Don't come and put your bad mouth in my money. My money matters. Keep your opinion to yourself. Nonsense. But ask yourself, when I was 21, if my parents are giving me a million Ghana cedis, there's no way I would have wasted that money. Looking at myself that I am sitting here today, it's not possible. So we are number 4. And number 4 area that you must invest towards is charity. Charity. This is important. How many of us actually have a plan towards charity? Many of us do not have a plan towards charity. We give as our heart lead, which is a good, it's not exactly a bad thing. But the point is, you know that because you don't have a lot of money, even when your heart is speaking, give, you shut the heart down. Master, shut up. I should give and what am I going to give? But if you actually had the plan for charity, if I knew that every month I want to give away 100 Ghana cedis, are you sure that you will not, if the month is any year, you have not given away that 100 Ghana cedis, you will not be in a hurry to actually identify people who actually need the money and go and give them. See? Because we know that to give is good. I mean, it says that give and it shall be given back to you, pressed and shaking together, running over. See? But many of us are not giving. We need to have a plan towards charity. You need to invest towards charity. And the reason why I must invest towards charity is that any problem that cannot wait for your money to mature is not yours to solve. And so if it is not in your budget to give, don't be in a rush to give. Many of us give too much too soon because we think that God will provide. But you see, yes, God will provide, but you must understand that God will bless the place from which the giving came from. If you have a plan that you're going to give, and every month you're actually giving, you are in a better place, God's eye, than the one who doesn't give. Then you give money that he doesn't have, and then end up in trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So you must have a plan for giving. You must actually have a budget item, a line item that I'm going to give 10% of my income every month. You must have a plan for that. You must have a charity fund, a charity account. Somebody calls you today, and the person is talking plenty, and you know that not the person needs money. Look at your charity account. I only have 500 Ghana cedis. I can only 500 Ghana cedis. On 10,000 cedis, I can give 500 Ghana cedis. 500 Ghana cedis is good for you. Come and take it. It's not good for you. Oh yeah, I can't help you. That's all. And so it's important you have a charity plan. Don't give more than you can bear. See, because the Bible says that the poor you will have amongst you. So if whether you give today, give tomorrow, it will still be available to you. If you don't give today, can give tomorrow. Don't be pushed to give what you don't have. This is very, very, it's hard teaching, but it's important teaching. Then the final area that you want to invest towards, the very final area that you want to invest towards is, we call it chilling. Yes, you must chill, Charlie. Man did not come to only invest, so you must also have fun. You must travel the world, you must travel Ghana, you must see things, you must give, you must enjoy life. God created the heavens and the earth and everything in it. He didn't just create a friend is a Kukumlimle or a Shaman estate. He created the world, and he expects you to actually see the world. You must actually have a fund that is geared towards having fun. That's all. There's a fund. I put 5% of my money into this account, and all I'm doing is that at the end of the year or at the end of the month, I'm going to chill. I want to chill with the big boys. Yes, I want to chill with the big boys. So you must have a fun. You don't make the mistake of going to the club or going wherever with other people, and then when they drop big money, they need to drop some because you don't know where they are dropping that big money from. Maybe they have a chilling fund. You don't have a chilling fund. Then you're just dropping money. And when the time comes to pay, then you're in trouble. See, have a fun and then live within your means. You understand? Don't just go out with the boys because the boys say we are going out. No. Go out with the boys because I have money to spend with the boys. If you don't have money, you don't go out. Plan, even the chilling must be planned because planning is everything. If you don't plan it, if it doesn't have a budget item, you don't do it. You understand? So plan the chilling so that you don't over chill. If I know that I have only 100 cedis to spend, I'm not going to go to a place where one plate of food is 100 Ghana cedis. I'll go to a place where one plate of food is 30 cedis. I can spread two other people. You understand? I'm still a big boy. They will see me as a big boy. when my 5%, my chilling fund increases, I can then go to a place where one plate of food is 50 Ghana cedis, and I can still spread some 2 people. Then they'll still see me as a big boy. You understand? Know your level. Don't go and chill with the wrong big boys. Even the big boys, there are classes of big boys. So know your level and then chill with the right big boys. Don't go and get hernia. I beg. It's very, very important. All right. So these are the 5 areas that you must, emphasis on must. You must invest towards your retirement, your housing, your children's education, charity, and then chilling. These are the 5 areas that you must invest towards, so that when the time comes that you need to execute them, you are ready to execute them